Hello everyone and welcome to Fight Night Legends Top 3 Decks. In this series, we follow Fight Night Legends each and every single week. We look at the top performing decks, most popular, and decks to watch for the most recent Fight Night Legends. But before we get into the video, take a second to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with all of our Legends of Runeterra content. Check out the links in the description to find our social media pages. We've got a lot of folks working behind the scenes to keep the content flowing and to allow for our weekly Runeterra tournaments. Fight Night Legends is a 2-deck no-ban format. Each Friday, 8 players from the Americas Shard and 8 players from the European server are invited to play. If a player manages to finish first or second in any given fight night, they'll be invited back the next week for a chance to prove themselves once again. This week, the Americas was dominated by Zinc Elemental. His excellent read on the meta allowed him to bring some of the week's most powerful decks in Zombie Anivia and TF Fizz. Trailing right behind him this week is Finny, who opted to bring a lineup of Zoe Lee and TF Fizz. TF Fizz would not only dominate the Americas, but would also continue to do well in EU. Topping off Europe, our champion Aoi, who managed to find success with one of the most off-meta lineups of the day, Hexcore Freeze and Soraka Kench. In EU's second place position, CDS Fall managed an impressive run, bringing not only Zoe Lee, but of course TF Fizz, continuing the deck's what seems to be string of domination. With our top performing players of the week out of the way, let's take a look at which decks perform best and were the most heavily represented decks of the week. Taking the slot as our number 3 deck this week, Zoe Lee is the strategy that we all know and some of us love. This classic deck revolves largely around Lee Sin. The deck aims to buff him up and protect him continuously until the deck can set up an unstoppable one-turn kill. To set up these kills, Lee Sin must be given Overwhelm, most often through Zenith Blade. Though Zoe Lee managed to snag the number 3 position this week, we also wanted to take a moment to look at Aphelios Lee. Though Aphelios Lee variants did not manage the solid finishes that Zoe Lee had, with a total of 2 copies of Zoe Lee, both of which placed second in their respective regions, the strategy seems to be another way to innovate the classic Lee Sin archetype. By moving into Aphelios over Zoe, the Lee combo gains the ability to move away from Zenith Blade in favor of Aphelios' moon weapon, Infernum. Infernum will give your Lee Overwhelm for the turn, as well as giving him a power spike of +2/+1, rather than Zenith Blade's +1/+2. This lets you get the Lee Sin damage breakpoints much easier. While it is hard to say if Aphelios Lee is actually a stronger build of the strategy, especially given Zoe Lee's performance this week, it certainly is at least a deck to watch. Our number 2 deck this week is Zombie Anivia. Zombie Anivia returns to the format in a powerful way with the addition of a new toy in its toolbox, Gluttony. While Zombie Anivia has classically been a strong control deck, it often gets to its win conditions a little too slow to compete with other slower strategies. Gluttony gives the Anivia deck the ability to not only get Anivia in the graveyard for a low cost, but when used on Anivia, it will guaranteed put a Rekindler into play, bringing more copies of Anivia into play as well. Between both regions, 4 players ended up bringing solo Anivia in their toolbox. 2 of these players managed a middling 4th place finish, with Zinc Elemental taking the deck all the way to a 1st place finish. This is the first time in months where it seems the Anivia deck has had a resurgence in the metagame, and it will be interesting to see if the addition of Gluttony can help solo Anivia keep its position as a rising star in the meta. Taking the crown for its 2nd fight night in a row, TF Fizz absolutely dominated this week as the strategy continues to be refined. This fight night, 6 out of the 16 players included the strategy in their lineup and cumulatively managed to take 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the Americas. As for Europe, the deck would end up taking 2nd and 4th place. This TF managed to have an incredibly strong conversion rate into the top 4 this fight night, making it a deck you will absolutely want to continue watching. Why has Fizz TF risen so much in power? There are a few reasons for this. For one, the nerf to Go Hard has taken away one of Fizz TF's greatest predators. While other decks around Fizz TF have gotten weaker, Fizz TF itself got a direct upgrade with the printing of stress testing. Fizz TF was already excellent at pulling ahead in card advantage, and stress testing only furthers this, allowing you to cash in harder on Rummage and pick a card. This elusive beatdown burn deck currently seems like a monster, and nothing seems to be able to stand in its way. It will be fascinating to see if any decks can rise up and take down the TF menace. What a fight night! A new slew of cards to the format have really shaken things up considerably. However, the format's top dog remains unshaken. The new cards have also opened up significantly more room for experimentation, especially in Targon, where Aphelios' true power has yet to be realized. Let us know in the comments section below what deck was your favorite from this week's batch of Fight Night decks. Thank you for watching, and if you're enjoying our content, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for future Giant Slayer LOR videos.